On this Monday night, the final pitch.
The character of this country is on the ballot.
But everything we have created and achieved is at stake.
Americans go to the polls tomorrow. What's at stake for the president, for his country, and for Canada?
Obviously, something's going on here.
We are on the ground in key battleground states.
Also tonight, we sit down with Americans to explore what divides them.
This is our home. There's so much hate.
And their fears for what comes next.
Hopefully we're not headed towards another civil war.
What will it take to heal the divisions?
Nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
CBC News takes hidden cameras inside Canada's banks. What they're telling you about balance protection insurance.
Why are the banks selling it?
It's pure profit.
The latest in a CBC News marketplace investigation. This is The National.
We're in Nashville, Tennessee tonight, and that is the state capital. Across these United States, candidates are running a desperate last lap. Midterm voting begins just hours from now, and key races are so tight. There are so many seats in play. The parties need to covet every last vote. Right now, it's all about driving turnout.
Get your friends, get your neighbors, get your coworkers, and go out and vote for a Republican House and a Republican Senate.
That was Donald Trump this evening rallying the faithful in Indiana, his second visit since Friday. Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly is vulnerable and the GOP smells blood.
Vote Republican.
Trump also touched down in Ohio today, another battleground that could tilt the national standings, and we've got that one covered. A bit later, Rosie will ask voters there how the parties clinched their support. She'll also fill you in on the high stakes for Canada in this historic vote.
All across the country, we're seeing a record number of women who are running. And Lord knows we need more women in charge.
Barack Obama, a bit hoarse from his own tour to boost Democratic fortunes, touched on the record groundswell of female candidates. Many are running in Florida, and Paul Hunter is in that swing state tonight. He'll tell you why the Florida ballot is consequential from top to bottom. But first, let me show you what's going down here in Tennessee. It's surrounded by red states, but Tennessee isn't so easily defined. Sure, Trump won it by 26 points in 2016, but a Republican senator's retirement has put a seat up for grabs in what's become a really close contest. Both parties want it so dearly. This has become the most expensive race in state history. So let's see what that looks like.
Hope you enjoy the rally, and let's keep fighting to make America great again.
The race to the bottom is one Tennessee sometimes wins, with one of the poorest voter turnout records in all of the United States. But then came 2018. 2 visits in a matter of weeks from President Trump, surely stirring the conservative souls of this red state. They're in a good mood.
We've got a lot of job growth in Cleveland, Tennessee. There's been a lot of change, I myself have already had 2 pay raises with my job.
You need to vote for Marsha Blackburn.
Marsha Blackburn for Senate. This is the high-octane candidate.
Thank you so much for all you did to send President Donald Trump and Mike Pence.
A woman borrowing the fury of the president to campaign in his image.
Marsha Blackburn will stand with Trump to build the wall.
Trump won this state so overwhelmingly in 2016, this should be easy for Blackburn. But sign for sign, poll for poll has her tied with the unlikeliest of star opponents. Former Governor Phil Bredesen championing that he's boring, pragmatic, nice.
You have a clear choice. If you like Washington the way it is, partisan shouting and finger pointing, I'm not your guy.
The president fills arenas, Bredesen packs town halls, talking civility.
I'm not running against the president. If he's for something that's good for Tennessee, I need to support him in that. If it's bad for Tennessee, I need to oppose him.
What Bredesen rarely mentions is the party he's running for, as if it's a dangerous word here.
You don't
don't often use the word Democrat to describe yourself. Why is that?
Because, I belong to the Democratic Party. It's an organization I belong to. It's not a religion. I have a worldview of things. It overlaps more with the Democratic Party, but my worldview comes from me, not from the canons of the Democratic Party.
Former George W. Bush advisor Mark McKinnon, now following the midterms for his documentary series, can't look away from Tennessee.
Younger voters are turning out at a higher number by a factor of 700%, which is just astonishing. It's large throughout the country, but the closest number to that is 400% in some other states. I mean, these are numbers that are just sort of hard to believe, but obviously something is going on here.
Does that send a signal to the Democratic Party, though, that maybe if he pulls this off, that maybe the future is a compromise candidate?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they Democrats in states like Tennessee are going to recognize that in order to get elected, you've got to compromise.
Economically, Tennessee is doing well. Usually a ruling party gets rewarded for that. And usually, Tom Siggering, the majority owner of the Nashville Predators, would be standing by the Republican Party as he has for most of his life. But he's an influential convert now fundraising for Bredesen, even if that startles some of his friends.
You don't see the middle. You don't see the vast majority who are in the middle in this country and have always been and always will be. They've been disenfranchised by both parties. And so that we have to get back to that.
And so this is Tennessee's political science test. Does the pull of polarization keep getting stronger, or is this the moment of the middle ground? Now, we reached out repeatedly to Marsha Blackburn and her campaign, and they didn't respond to us. She has been crossing the state today in a last-minute push, and she really is counting on the strength of the president's record here to carry her to victory as the first female senator of Tennessee. So history will be made either way here tomorrow night. The state of Florida has made its share of history in past elections. These midterms promise to be no exception.
Are y'all ready to win? All right, if that's the case, then we are just, what do they say, a day away?
Voters could elect the state's first African-American governor. So let's go to Paul Hunter in Tallahassee, the state capital. Paul, can you set the scene?
Welcome to the land of hanging chads, Adrian, where it seems every election, every contest is a squeaker, and that's what they expect tomorrow. Two to look out for tomorrow. One is the contest for the Senate seat, currently held by Democrats. Bill Nelson, he's being challenged by Rick Scott, the current governor of Florida. It is neck and neck, too close to call. Likewise, the race to replace Rick Scott for governor, where Trump favorite Ron DeSantis is up against Andrew Gillum, who's a rising star among Democrats and hopes to become Florida's first African-American governor. But again, neck and neck, too close to call. It's how they do them here in Florida.
What's that one telling detail you're going to be looking for tomorrow?
Turnout. Specifically among young people. Recall the Parkland shooting and the students from that high school that went out to recruit and register millennial after millennial after millennial. To the degree guns are an issue in Florida, you know, that was just reinforced a couple of days ago with that shooting here in Tallahassee at the yoga class. So will young people turn out these midterms in Florida? They tend to skew Democratic and they tend to also stay home on election days. We'll see tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Paul Hunter in Tallahassee tonight. An update tonight on that controversial campaign ad that President Trump tweeted out last week. It has been pulled by Facebook and at least 2 U.S. television networks.
Break up soon, kill more.
The ad suggested the Democratic Party let in dangerous migrants. It was also criticized for being racist and containing false information. Today, both Fox News and NBC announced they would stop airing the ad. Facebook says the ad violates its policy and will not receive paid distribution, though it can be posted by users.
Adrian, we see those ads like that from across the border. Certainly we're talking about the violence, the heightened rhetoric, but what does it feel like in Trump country right now?
Oh, it's interesting. People tell us that they actually grieve for reasoned conversation. It's something they mourn, and that the loss is so acute, Rosie, that the newspapers here do a pretty interesting thing. One paper insists on publishing 2 editorials a day, a conservative one and a liberal one. Another paper, the Tennessean, has what it calls its civility project that looks for and highlights all the efforts happening where people are trying to restore faith in each other and communicating with each other. It's almost like I suppose, an emergency outreach in a disaster. That's sort of the language that they're using. But, you know, important to note that tomorrow will be so much more than just which party wins the House and the Senate in the United States, because what happens here will be a big deal back at home in Canada, too.
You can bet on that, Adrian, and that's why you're paying so much attention. Most pollsters right now are betting on that, on a split Congress, and that could have huge implications for us here in Canada. Consider that the environment, oil and gas, and even a large chunk of our economy could potentially be at play.
This is a terrific deal for all of us.
First, on trade. Sure, there might be a new USMCA deal, but it's still up to both houses of Congress to ratify it before the end of November. If the Democrats control the House, it's possible they may not want to sign anything that has President Trump's name on it. So a divided House could bring new uncertainty even after a year-long battle to renegotiate NAFTA. Then there are those punishing steel and aluminum tariffs. A different congressional makeup could push back against the president and try to dump them all together. It's also worth noting that while the U.S. economy seems to be booming along now, the stock market historically performs worse under a split Congress, and that matters in an integrated North American economy and to the millions of Canadians who invest stateside. Appealing to a more environmentally conscious and urban electorate, a Democratic House could lead to a backlash against Canadian oil and gas projects. But then again, that could potentially mean more support to fight climate change, which would be welcome news to many Canadians. The one thing that is clear, Donald Trump's name isn't on the ballot. He'll still be president after tomorrow night.
I continue to have a constructive, positive relationship with the president.
That means for Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government, it is a relationship they'll need to continue to carefully navigate. The CBC's Keith Bogue will, of course, be part of our special coverage here on The National tomorrow, and he joins me now from Toronto tonight. Keith, let's talk about the expectations, both for the Democrats and the Republicans. I know it depends on what we're talking about, but give us a sense of what those expectations are.
Sure. I mean, the expectations, maybe surprisingly, haven't changed very much since the summer. I think the most likely outcome is still agreed to be that Democrats will win the House but not win the Senate. And that, obviously, the flip side of that is that Republicans hold the Senate but don't win the House. I say that the race hasn't changed very much since the course of the summer. If anything, that has become more pronounced. The latest forecast I looked at today gives the Democrats over an 85% chance of winning the House tomorrow. But of course, less than about 16 or 15% chance of winning the Senate. I think it's important to remember, though, Rosemary, that even though those are small numbers, small number that Republicans will win the House, small number that Democrats will win the Senate, you still got to take that stuff seriously. We learned how important it is to take small numbers seriously in 2016.
We sure did. Okay, and certainly we've seen Trump in the past few days concentrate on Senate races. So give us a sense of how significant these midterm elections will be for him.
Well, one of the reasons that he's concentrating on Senate races is certainly that he thinks that's the winning hand. He wants to be able to say he had an impact on those races. Right. But obviously this is a very, very important midterm election for the president. He knows that if he loses either one of these chambers of Congress, it could turn his world upside down. Just imagine, for instance, losing the House with Democrats having control of all those committees, of having control over budgets to investigate the president in terms of his connections with Russia, to investigate his business dealings, to call for his tax returns and have the IRS surrender them. Those are big deals for the president. He knows it.
And even impeachment, I guess, has been on the lips of some Democrats. Unlikely, but it's still out there, too. Okay, Keith Bogue in Toronto tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Still to come in the program, I sit down with 6 Americans in Ohio's hotly contested 12th congressional district. We'll talk about politics, the president, and the great American divide.
It is scary for me to say in the country that I love that I fear on a regular my son and my sons.
Tell me what you
silly.
feel about your sons, though, when you say...
I fear for them.
Oh, fear for them.
I fear for them. I fear for them.
Do you know what I think is disturbing, though? We're not even 2 years into this. And look at it.
Americans head to the polls tomorrow, and as you may have guessed, our coverage will start tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBC News Network, and we will be live on CBC Television at 10 p.m. throughout the evening, 10:30 in Newfoundland.
Let's turn to a story here at home. The number is huge, $165 million, all of it owed to hundreds of thousands of Canada's most vulnerable veterans. But it went missing from their disability awards and pensions. The accounting error somehow went undiscovered for years. As Murray Brewster tells us, it's a major embarrassment for Veterans Affairs Canada.
This is the time of year when Canadians celebrate and honor their veterans and remember the cost of war.
I assure you, this government is committed to treating our veterans with the care, the compassion, and the respect that they have earned.
They may have earned it, but the Veterans Department has had trouble with the math. The Liberal government today acknowledged an enormous accounting error. For years, the indexation calculation for disability awards and pensions was incorrect. The department did not factor in the basic provincial tax credit for individuals. That meant lower monthly payments for 272,000 veterans, many of whom fought in the Second World War and the Korean War. It was uncovered by Veterans Ombudsman Guy Perrin, who says the federal government is now prepared to make up the difference.
They have secured the funds, and that they will be looking at how they reach out to these veterans and families in the States, and going forward, how they actually repay them, because it's money that should have been in the veterans' pockets that does not.
Over half of the 272,000 affected have already died. Veterans Affairs Minister Seamus O'Regan issued a statement. We will ensure those affected receive the compensation to which they are entitled. At this stage, given the number of individuals affected, we expect to issue payments by 2020.
There is another significant aspect to the story. In the early 2000s, the accounting error ran unchecked for almost 8 years. In 2011, Veterans Affairs inexplicably began using the correct calculation. It did not, however, notify veterans they may be out of pocket, and the Ombudsman says he doesn't know why.
Canada's former top military commander is willing to believe it is an honest bureaucratic snafu, but he still has questions.
You do wonder why it took so long to recognize that there was an error and why there wasn't some kind of compensation at the end of it.
Tonight, some are calling for an investigation by the Auditor General. Murray Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
Some other stories we're following tonight on The National. USA Gymnastics looks that it's set to lose its role as the sport's governing body.
There has been a systemic failure in the system to protect athletes, including in how allegations of sexual misconduct have been handled, or should I say, not handled.
The U.S. Olympic Committee is taking the first step in revoking the governing rights in the wake of the Larry Nassar sexual abuse scandal. He was sentenced in January. The decertifying process has a number of steps, ending in a vote by the U.S. Olympic Committee Board. Divers continue to find debris from that Lion Air flight that crashed into the sea near Indonesia. Today, investigators offered an update on what may have gone wrong. Officials say the plane had a malfunctioning airspeed indicator, not just on this flight, but on the 3 before that. The Boeing 737 MAX 8 was only a couple of months old when it crashed. That model is also used by airlines here in Canada. Ontario Premier Doug Ford announced a cabinet shuffle this morning, just 4 months after forming government. He didn't give a reason for the new appointments, but the shuffle follows the sudden resignation of Jim Wilson, one of Ford's top ministers. And we've now learned more about why Jim Wilson resigned so quickly. Mike Crawley is here with more on this story. And Mike, at this point, what do we know?
Well, Ian, we know that 3 sources in the PC party have told me that Jim Wilson's resignation was triggered by an allegation of sexually inappropriate behavior. Now, I've not been able to confirm whether or not this allegation is true. We did try to reach Jim Wilson today, but nobody from his office returned our phone calls. Premier Doug Ford's people are not saying anything officially about this. However, they are neither confirming nor denying that it was this allegation that triggered the resignation. One of Doug Ford's cabinet ministers did speak about it today to reporters in Ottawa.
My understanding is that swift action was taken, that he resigned from caucus immediately and an investigation is put in place. So I'll leave it at that.
Now, Mike, word of this resignation came down late on Friday, and at the time the party said it was because he was getting treatment for addiction issues.
Well, this is true, Ian, but multiple sources in the Progressive Conservative Party tell me that Jim Wilson has actually struggled with alcohol addiction for many, many years. So these people were questioning why the resignation now, the timing, and in particular, they were also wondering why he had to step aside from the Progressive Conservative caucus. He has been a member of that PC caucus since 1990.
All right, Mike, thank you.
You're welcome.
Still ahead on The National, a scene meant to stop you in your tracks. We'll take you to the Tower of London and a stunning act of remembrance for the 100th anniversary of the end of the First World War.
And bringing back girl power and platform shoes. The Spice Girls are reuniting because, you know, friendship never ends.
How did I not get that promo? But next, a CBC News investigation into big bank sales tactics. Is getting insurance on your credit card a smart financial move for you or the bank?
I felt like they were taking advantage of me, of a student. They didn't explain things for me enough to know more about balance protection.
He had told me that he was getting this insurance just in case anything ever happened to him.
Last night, we introduced you to an Ontario woman who chose to go public about insurance on her ailing husband's credit card. She says protection didn't work the way she expected and says that she was called repeatedly for payments that she didn't believe were fair. It was only after CBC contacted the company that the issue was resolved. Canada's biggest banks make a lot of money selling the same type of credit card protection. But as David Common explains, there are many warnings about whether this protection is even worth it.
Canada's big banks made bundles off balance protection insurance, a product the government's own financial watchdog calls high risk for consumers, problematic and often sold without appropriate explanation.
It's expensive. It doesn't cover a lot of situations, and it pays out a very small amount most of the time.
Why are the banks selling it?
It's pure profit.
To see just how they're selling it, we asked Haider Amin to wear a hidden camera and hear the sales pitch.
Nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
Sometimes bank employees couldn't even explain the insurance.
Okay. So what is it?
Insurance. Apparently,
Other times, they were inaccurate.
Like, let's say you were using your card and you had $5,000 on it and you lost your job, like Scotiabank will pay off your credit card.
That's not exactly true. This insurance typically only covers the minimum payment or a small part of your balance. Even then, many don't ever collect, including Haider Amin, even when his job ended.
I felt like they were taking advantage of me, of a student. They didn't explain things for me enough to know more about balance protection.
Bank insiders told us they sometimes mislead customers to make a sale and a commission.
I found this whole situation very scummy.
Some customers told us they ended up paying premiums they never asked for.
Without my permission, without my knowledge.
I didn't ask for it.
Canada's big banks say they take customer concerns seriously, and the insurance is meant to help customers. But in the US, UK, and Australia, some banks have stopped selling the insurance after they were fined billions for misleading consumers, including over similar practices on credit card protection insurance. There have been warnings in Canada, but no similar crackdown. Instead, customers like Haider Amin are trying to get the money they paid back.
So unfortunately, there's not much we can do in regard.
David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, we go in-depth into battleground Ohio. I met with 6 voters in a toss-up district to find out what it's like to be in the middle of a divided America.
I mean, whoever even heard of midterm? They don't even know what it is. I've had a lot of people say, I don't know what midterm is, but now I'm watching every single minute, and I'm going out to vote. But the key is you have to go out to vote. Because in a sense, I am on the ticket. You got to go out to vote.
That's Donald Trump delivering his closing argument before voters head to the polls. He visited 3 more states he won in 2016 today, including Ohio. Much of the attention tomorrow will be on a few key, highly competitive seats, including that state's 12th congressional district. The vote there is considered a toss-up and will be to some degree a referendum on the U.S. president. So that's why we traveled there, to speak to voters caught up in a divided America.
We'll take a look at one of the most hotly contested races in Ohio, Congressional District 12.
It's the pipe bombs, it's the Kavanaugh effect, and I think it's actually galvanizing support from both sides.
And then coming up with so many close races here in Ohio, I'm going to ask them to look into their crystal balls on who will come out on top November 6th, their predictions.
Hi, Paul. Good to see you.
Paul Beck.
Hi, nice to meet you.
University.
Sit down. Let's chat.
Yes, indeed.
So let's talk about midterms and how will that play out in Ohio, in the 12th district?
Well, this would be a district that would be written off as a Republican win. But because it is a referendum to some degree on the president, though it's a district that is majority Republican, still it makes it a competitive race.
How concerned should Republicans be about how tight it is in the 12th?
Well, I think they're worried, of course, about this Democratic wave.
Yes.
Whether it materializes or not, we'll see. Republicans have been very supportive of the policies, but then there's the style. And a lot of voters, Republican voters, don't particularly like the style. And the question will be, do they dislike it enough to want to cast a vote against a Republican running for Congress?
Okay, so you're going to come later.
I will be there.
We'll listen to the voters and we'll see whether they surprise both of us.
Yes, it'll be really interesting.
Okay, good. See you later.
Okay.
Settled and mic'd up and everything. So Mary, you're over here, and Carol, you're here. David, you're beside me over here. Steve, you're on the end. Roland, you're here in the middle. Tom is here. We did divide you along your thoughts because it'll just be easier for me to follow along.
All right, scene 1, take 4.
Thanks for coming. So obviously we've split you up sort of into not such a big fan of the president, fan of the president. So Tom, I'm going to start with you. How do you think he's been doing in this first couple of years?
I think he's doing a very good job. One, he's doing what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to reform taxes, he reformed taxes. He said he was going to deregulate, he deregulated. And our economy is thriving because of that.
David, you're not a big fan.
Not at all a fan.
No. So how do you think he's doing in the job?
My greater concern is what I think is happening for the people in this country. And he is incredibly polarizing, has certainly given permission to for racism, for the expression, the overt expression of racism.
And you can give an example now. Give an example just so we all are on the same page in terms of what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I was out one night right after the election, walking my dog in the circle, and car comes by, lots of cars like to take the little loop on our street, and slowed down, so I leaned in. And I was yelled at, "You go back to Africa, you black bee." This is on my street, in my neighborhood that I've lived in for 17 years. And I was so shocked that I wasn't sure it happened. Like, did I make that up?
Yeah, first of all, I acknowledge that. I'm sorry to hear about that. It can't be tolerated. But I would say, we all have experiences, right? We all have life experiences. Being a farm kid from Southeast Ohio, coming to Ohio State to Professor Beck's class back here, we talk funny, we dress funny, and so there's always some sort of a elitism where you don't fit in, right? Appalachian, Ohio is actually the poorest part of anywhere in the United States. We've been wanting someone like President Trump since I was a kid, to recognize the greatness of our country, to instill pride in our country. A lot of support for Trump is we're tired of supporting politicians who say this to get elected, get the big primary win, then win in the general. Trump is following through on things, right?
Okay, Roland, how about you? What's your experience been in these first couple of years with this president?
You know, it's interesting. It's really not about the what, it's really about the how, from my perspective. I think leadership has certain characteristics. And a leader must be humble, must teach. A leader, in order for people to follow, must be an example. It is very difficult for me to follow Trump in that manner. It is very difficult for me to tell my kids, you know, that the behavior, the language is acceptable. The lies is acceptable. So the business that he's creating in our culture, I think it's damaging, and I can't tell you to what extent, because it is being damaged. I don't know if it's going to be repaired, how it can be repaired.
Yeah. Tom, maybe I'll just get your thoughts on what Roland said there, just because I haven't heard you. And we're going to get back to this more, but yeah.
I was in the Marine Corps 24 years. I retired as lieutenant colonel. I certainly understand leadership. And humility is a leadership quality. But not every leader who's been successful has been humble. George Patton was not a humble person. Many presidents, and make no mistake about it, Donald Trump as a politician does not have a monopoly on lies of politicians. Okay, you could go back every administration and you could probably pinpoint, if you will, lacks of integrity or lacks of honesty.
And I would agree with that. I think instigating it is the issue. I think, again, if you're misleading aggressively like he's doing it, it's difficult to identify when he's actually telling the truth and then when you can support it.
Okay, so it sort of leads us to the gender split we're seeing in the country. That we will see in the midterms if you look at some of the polls, and some of that is because of the way the president talks about women. So I want to show one tweet, and it's not just any woman, it is Stormy Daniels that he's talking about in this tweet, but let me show you the tweet. Great, now I can go after Horseface and her third-rate lawyer in the great state of Texas. She will confirm the letter she signed. She knows nothing about me. A total con. Mary, what did you think of that?
I don't think Donald Trump respects women. He's clearly shown that time and again, other than maybe his daughter, although that's kind of creepy too. Some of the things he said about Ivanka. I keep thinking hopefully Ivanka will take his phone away from him and stop him from tweeting, because particularly if you support him, he does more harm with these crazy tweets, and he doesn't have a lot of respect for people different from him.
What do you think, Tom? Do you think he is? And you have a daughter, so how do you relate to him?
I think he treats all people the same. I think he's an equal opportunity abuser or praiser, depending on who you are. If you are against him, if you punch him, he's going to punch you back hard. Whether you're a woman, a man, no matter what your race is, no matter what your ethnicity is, he's going to come at you. He is what he is. And I'm a substance over style kind of person. I think the substance of what he's doing as president overrides somewhat questionable style sometimes.
But if he worked in any company in America, he couldn't talk to people that way. He couldn't treat people that way. And to have the person who, is our representative to the rest of the world act that way is embarrassing as an American.
Talk about feeling embarrassed. We travel extensively. I feel like we're the laughing stock. It feels like we're the laughing stock. We have this beautiful system where we have a change of power every 4 years or every 8 years. Sometimes your guy's in, sometimes your guy's not. That's fine, okay? But the integrity, I think you talked about the integrity of the man, the status of the office. I think he has diminished it greatly.
I just really think
people were tired of politicians. And that was probably one of my big things, because when you watch all this arguing, you know, like the Kavanaugh hearings or any hearings, these people love to hear themselves talk. Love it. And, you know, and it might mean nothing. There are so many things I wish Donald Trump didn't say. But he's not a politician.
I think that's a good argument a couple of years ago. He's a politician now. I mean, he's a politician. He's the president of the United States. So I think, yeah, if that was your criteria, one of your criteria for supporting him, I see that. I think that sentiment is not limited to conservatives, but I think that argument is dead now.
There was very little talk about policy, even though there have been some fairly sizable policy changes. Not much talk about foreign policy. I think Russia was never mentioned in all of this. I expected people who didn't like him to not like him because of his demeanor and his style, people who liked him more for their policies. But no, they liked the style also. They liked the fact, as several of them put it, that he's not a politician.
Yes.
Steve was saying, well, okay, I come from Appalachia, and I understand that people there feel like they've been left behind. Nobody seems to care about them. Politicians go down there, they make all these promises, and then nothing happens. Well, Trump comes along and he makes these promises, and indeed something happens. Now, again, how well it'll hold up over time, we just don't know the answer to that.
But the divisions that we're talking about, have any of you experienced that on a personal level? Or you know you can't talk politics at the table?
Not my family.
Or
We kind of ended up on this theme with a lot of people saying, I am worried. There's a disquiet out there that things, for one reason or another, are not going well, but part of the reason is the kind of polarization that we have in our society.
Anyone take 5?
one of the things happening in the news right now is this caravan of people making their way to the border. The president is portraying it in a particular way. So let me play that clip for you.
You see the people come up and you listen to the fake news back there and you think they're all wonderful people, right? No, you think, I'm serious, you think they're all wonderful people. You got some bad people in those groups, you got some tough people in those groups, and I'll tell you what, this country doesn't want them, okay? We don't want them.
It's a tough issue you guys have, like that press against the border. We just have all of you, so we don't have the same issue in Canada. But
I mean, to stop all immigration is not the answer.
I don't think that's being suggested at all. We are not against immigration. We are against illegal immigration. Illegal immigration is bad for the illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. They get exploited. They're not getting paid a fair wage. They're not being taken care of. The journey here to the United States is very dangerous, and if for every dollar that we spend on a border patrol guy or on the wall, also spend money on legally bringing people into this country, we have a great need for labor in this country. Okay, and it's going to help people achieve some of their dreams, but it's got to be done legally.
Davia, you haven't weighed in on this one.
I'm sorry.
I certainly don't know the answer to the immigration problem. And I think what I roil up against is that it is complex and it is nuanced, but it's being presented as us against them. They're bad, we're good. It is far more complex than that. If it wasn't, then we would have some sort of a solution.
But the divisions that we're talking about, have any of you experienced that on a personal level? And by that I mean like people that hear your thoughts and don't want to talk to you anymore, or you know you can't talk politics at the table.
Not my family.
Or
I mean, like my sisters, and we
Roland?
don't talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll go around because it sounds like you all have.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I go to Florida, visit my family. You know, my dad is 91, a hardline Republican. I call my sister a Fox Republican. That's that's all she repeats. But that's their belief, and they think I'm like you married a Midwestern woman, live in Ohio,
And
what happened, you know? So yeah, there's the difficult conversations we have, and I will tell you, with my sister, we just don't talk about it.
You cannot have a conversation where you avoid Trump. And that became clear because he is such a polarizing figure. And it is scary for me to say, in the country that I love, that I fear on a regular my son and my sons.
Tell me what you
silly.
feel about your sons, though, when you say.
I fear for them.
Oh, fear for them.
I fear for them. I fear for them. Because they feel as if they, this is the country they love. This is all they know. They don't want to be anywhere else, and I don't want them to be anywhere else. This is our home. But I've watched them try not to be demoralized when they have interactions with either law enforcement or even just their friends as things have changed in this climate. Friendships are different.
You know what I think is disturbing, though? We're not even 2 years into this. And look at it. There's so much hate.
Right.
But you look at some of it too, is just
Interview
the
us
whole,
in 2020, imagine that.
the red state, blue state thing. I mean, you know, just geographically,
Yes.
the middle of the country is different from the coast, and hopefully we're not headed towards another civil war kind of thing. But there are huge differences.
But that's a recent thing, you know, you're starting to see politics line up, you know, based on cultural differences, whereas before, Republicans and Democrats, independents, like, everybody kind of went to the same church, went to the same grocery store, worked at the same factories, what have you. Now, like, our lives are different, right? And I think that's that's a growing concern for me. Because culturally, we might become different.
The midterm is going to happen. You're all going to vote. What happens the next day and the days after? Does any of this, the division that you all acknowledge exists, that none of you really like, does it go away after the midterms? What happens?
Well, for myself,
yeah.
I know that I tend to be open and balanced, and I feel like I don't have the luxury of being balanced. That I have to respond to the polarism by being polarized. It's just
Yeah,
a
I'm
mess.
sorry.
You know, so I'm hopeful because there are mechanisms. You can vote, you can campaign, you can. So I'm hopeful. I don't know how to describe. I'm not joyful. Maybe that's what it is. There's something. The shine is gone for me.
Okay, that's a good place to leave it. Thank you all. It's
Thank
really
you.
nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
I learned a lot from
It was delightful.
Yeah, it was great.
Safe travels back.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to come back and see how you are.
Carmen knows our number.
That was an interesting conversation. Still ahead on the National, but as far as you can get from the midterms. Our moment, the Fab Five of girl power is back. Well, -1.
That's okay, I need a break from it. First, a unique and stunning way to mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War, in case you missed it. This is what 10,000 flames look like, all burning at the same time in the Tower of London and its empty moat. It's part of a display that debuted last night and will run every night until November 11th to commemorate the 100 years since the end of the First World War. And think the view from the ground is impressive? Here's what it looks like from above.
Flame is really interesting because it has two different meanings. It's part of the destruction. It's a destructive thing, but then it's also symbolizes hope.
The organizers say it's about remembering the sacrifices made by those who lost their lives during the war, but also about those who were left behind.
There's a form of excitement between the 37 Yeoman warders.
And so every night, a ceremonial beefeater will bring the flame down from the tower. That flame will then be used to ignite all the other torches, and it's more than just a visual experience. Music and words echo between the walls.
You know, we need to bring light, and I guess in our current situation in the world, it's really important to contemplate now about how we keep peace.
A century later, the message still resonates.
If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Make it last forever. Friendship never ends.
Fans told them what they want, what they really, really want, and the Spice Girls delivered. They announced they'd be reuniting for their first tour in a decade. The big news broke where else on social media earlier today, and because I got outvoted, it's our moment of the day. Stop right now. You heard right. Sporty, Baby, Scary, and Ginger Spice have announced they're going on tour. But there will be one thing missing.
I never know what to wear.
Yeah, it must be really hard for you, Victoria. You know, trying to decide whether to wear the little Gucci dress or the little Gucci dress.
Exactly.
Posh Spice has confirmed she will not be involved. She had other business commitments, but wished the women love and fun on their tour. The last time the group performed together was the closing ceremony of the London Olympics. There has been a lot of speculation, though, about a reunion. So far, this tour is limited to the UK, but that hasn't stopped fans from celebrating the return of girl power and hoping they may eventually cross the pond.
I know all the words to all those songs. I don't know why. And I will just say that Victoria Beckham, aka Posh, is not doing this. I would gather because her fashion brand is worth about $100 million. So maybe doesn't need to do it.
It was incredible to me, the number of people on our team here in Vancouver and also at the newsroom in Toronto, probably Ottawa as well, who love the Spice Girls. Guess how many top 10 hits they had in their entire career, Rosie?
This is an Ian trivia moment. I do not know. Hit me.
4. Just 4. Like, that's not a big number. So not a wide impact, but clearly with some people like my co-host, a deep impact.
Like a girl power thing. That's, I think, what it was about, maybe.
Well, fair enough. And we salute that, or at least you salute that tonight. That is The National for Monday, November 5th. Good night.
Night.